Hello again, Nuggets. I hope you're doing well today. I really appreciate that you're here and paying attention. I hope that you are all doing well. These are strange times that we're living in. And I'm noticing on the news and social media, there's a lot of negativity. There's a lot of people who are scared and confused and worried, and they're acting out in some strange ways. But wherever there's darkness, there's also light. So I want to take a second to acknowledge before I get started with today's lesson that there might be some feelings that come up that might not be good feelings. Maybe they just are uncomfortable. Maybe this assignment makes you a little anxious, or maybe it makes you a little sad. I don't know. But we are going to be looking for stories online. So you're going to be doing some of your own searches if you so choose. And I just want to remind you guys that if something comes up while you're watching this video or doing today's assignment, that you can always call the helpline, and one of us will answer between 8:20 and 3 p.m. Or if when you check in with your teacher today, if you want to let them know what comes up, okay? Don't stop talking to us now. We need to know what's going on with you guys, and we're here to help, okay? So back to the lesson. I have been thinking about a quote from the famous Mr. Rogers since this all started happening. And he said, when I was a boy and I would see scary things in the news, my mother would say to me, look for the helpers. You will always find people helping. That's been coming up for me a lot since this all started happening. I'm trying to stay informed about the reality of what's going on, but also just to take the time to find some good news, find some positivity. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to look for stories about people doing good, people displaying these peace traits that we're always going on about. We always talk about these peace traits, but this is a time of, crisis kind of for our world and our society. And these are the times when you can find the helpers, when people really step up for one another. So some things that I have seen are doctors and nurses working incredibly long shifts and going well above and beyond the call of duty to take care of the people who are sick. I have seen neighbors helping neighbors, people taking the time to slow down and rest, kind of get to know one another. I've met some neighbors that I don't know if I would have met them if I wasn't outside walking the dogs as much as I am, and if everybody wasn't home all the time. I've seen social workers and teachers stepping up to provide the communities that they serve with the resources that they need, adults and kids alike. So for example, I've included these stories that I found in the links below this video. So if you click on the information, they're right there along with all of the peace traits. So you can, for today's assignment that I'll go over at the end, you can use the stories that I've found for you, or if you want to find your own story, if there's kind of a theme that you want to look for, or a certain country you want to search up information about that has a positive story that displays at least 3 peace traits, go for it, okay? But I wanted to go over a couple of the stories that I found so that you kind of know what I'm talking about. So one of the stories I found was written by Gary Shapiro for Stat News, and it discussed how in times of crisis, people in technology and scientific communities really step up and have created some really innovative things to meet the needs of society. Scientists have learned from previous outbreaks how to better identify and combat viruses like COVID-19 or coronavirus that we're dealing with today. There's a company using artificial intelligence, which is a concept that I can't even begin to touch, but if you're interested, you can go look up what artificial intelligence is, to track the virus. There have been massive improvements in the protective gear that people on the front lines, like emergency responders and doctors and nurses, wear, like the masks and the gloves and the suits, and it's a huge industry and they've made a lot of progress in it. There's drones that deliver medical supplies to areas that are affected in quarantine that people can't get to, which I think is really cool. I know you guys are, well, some of you are into drones. So they're actually using them to deliver medicine, which I think is really cool. And I even read in this article that I mentioned that there is a robot taking care of a guy who's sick. So you guys should check that first article out from Stat News. It's pretty cool, especially if you're into science and technology. Another story was written by Annie Renault for Upworthy, which is personally one of my favorite sites. Upworthy.com is a site that only tells happy stories. But the article by Annie is about how Dyson, which is a company known mostly for making vacuums and air filters and things like that, designed a new kind of ventilator, which is a machine that doctors hook up to people when they have trouble breathing. So the machine inflates your lungs for you and keeps air flowing in and out of your body, keeps your heart going. And these machines are being used a lot to treat coronavirus patients. So Dyson was actually tasked with redesigning the machine and invented a battery-operated COVID-19 specific ventilator in 10 days, which is incredible. And they're actually donating a lot of the machines that they've made to countries that need them. So if that sounds interesting to you, check out that article. But my favorite story is one that's here in Colorado. So the way that I read it is a neighbor was concerned about one of their other neighbors who was elderly and already had a hard time getting around and taking care of themselves before this virus hit and before we were quarantined, but now especially as like a very vulnerable person who needs help. And so this neighbor has been sending her dog over to check on her neighbor, and the dog has been getting a grocery list. So the dog over, gets the grocery list, takes it back to the owner. The owner goes out, buys the groceries, puts the grocery bag in the dog's mouth, and he goes back over and delivers the groceries. I just can't. You guys know how I feel about dogs. They truly are. Anyway. So I've included links below with these stories and more. But again, if you want to search the internet for some happy stories, go for it. Find me something exciting. I would love to hear about it. I'm sure our teachers would love to hear about it. We all need a healthy dose of positivity right now. So what I want you to do is to find 3 of our peace traits, which are listed, that you see show up in either a story I found or a story you found. And I want you to tell us how. That's it. 3 peace traits. How do they show up? So not, I see humanity. How? So I'm seeing a lot of humanity because I am seeing people take care of each other across all kinds of lines. We used to not care about each other because of we didn't know each other, because we didn't like the way each other looked, because we spoke a different language, and things like that they don't matter anymore. This is the time when people are stepping up for each other. So there's a lot of humanity, people just doing what's right because it's right. I'm also seeing a lot of responsibility, and that's people doing the things that they are supposed to do regardless of how hard it is. And times are not super easy right now, and people are stepping up. People are showing a lot of responsibility, regardless of fear and regardless of a lot of the conditions that we're living in right now. I also see a lot of caring, people showing love and kindness to each other simply because what else can we do right now but be patient and love one another and be kind to one another. So what do you see? I want to know. I'm open to hearing any stories that you find that display 3 character traits. And remember, if you're searching or as you're reading and maybe you find something that's not so happy or that's negative, or maybe some stuff just starts coming up for you, call the helpline or check in with your teacher when they call. Let us know what's going on, okay? We are far away, but we are safe at home, and we are also here for you, okay? So happy searching, Nuggets. Miss you.